So hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. And this is the last class of the second partial. And we will finish this partial by doing kind of a complication to the last exercise that we did. Remember, the last thing we did was the cover interest arbitrage, but now we are going to do something that is similar but still different, like a complication to that. And it is called on cover interest what or EYA. So why is it uncovered? Well, if you take a look at the data that we have in here, the main difference is that we don't have a forward, and that's the essence of the uncovered interest arbitrage. We are not going to use a forward. That was something different because in the CIA strategy, we did have a forward. The forward was used in the last part of the rectangle. I hope that you remember that we used the forward when we wanted to come back. But in here, we don't have the forward. Why we don't have the forward? Well, because we want to risk a little bit more. We want to be, we want to open the possibility that maybe the rate in the future can be good for us, because something that you can complain about CIA strategy is that everything is set, everything is fixed, right? Like when you finish the CIA, the amount that you calculated is the amount that you will get because of the forward. So there is no possibility that you can do better or worse than that. So if you don't like that, if you don't like stability, if you don't like to reduce risk, if you like to have more risk, you can do an uncovered interest arbitrage. That's actually kind of the objective of an uncovered interest arbitrage. It's a riskier strategy. But let me explain you how it works. And in this exercise, which is similar to what you would do in the activity, there are two main differences. The first one is that we are doing uncover instead of cover interest arbitrage. And the second one is that we don't have the money. We are borrowing the money. So that's also something important. We are borrowing the money. We don't have the money. We are borrowing the money. So let me do the exercise in here so you can go step by step with me, and we can see how it's done. You will see that it's very similar to the CIA. There are only a couple of differences. So let me start in here. I will copy the amount of pesos that we can borrow. So we can borrow 1 million pesos. That's to start. And then from here, I need to calculate how much will I pay in the future. In the future is 90 days. So I need to use my formula to calculate the future value of 1 million pesos. So to do that, I would use the formula that I used in the CIA. So it will be 1 plus the interest rate of Mexico times the time over 360. I close the parentheses. Remember, it is very important that you follow this notation in Excel if you're using Excel. And this is the amount of pesos that we have to pay. In here, I will give you a tip. This is something that I do. Because I am borrowing, you can see in here that it says you can borrow. I will write a minus. So I remember that this is money that I need to pay back. So I borrowed today 1 million pesos. I need to pay in the future 1,012,500. Then the other thing that I need to do is to convert well, this is what happens in Mexico, right? In the local country. So this happens in Mexico. I need to do the simulation of what will happen if I invest in the US. So I need to convert my pesos to dollars. I will use the spot rate at times 0. This is pesos over dollar. So to convert from pesos to dollars, I need to divide, right? I hope you remember this. So I have in the end $50,000. And I need to invest this amount of dollars in the US. So remember, this is US. And I borrow the money. This is the money that I have to pay, but I have the money in my pocket, right? This is borrowing the money. I just convert the money that I have in my pocket to dollars, and I invest that in the US. So to calculate the future value in the US is the same formula. So 1 plus the interest rate of the US times the 90 days over 360. and this is the future value in dollars. So remember also, I like this strategy or this methodology because you can keep track of what you're doing. This is the present, this is the future. And finally, this is something very important. We don't have a forward, right? So we can't go back to Mexico because we don't have a forward. So in this type of exercises, I will be asking you is, what is the balance rate? And let me explain you what is the balance rate. In my question, I am asking you, at what rate in the future, what is the balance rate? At what rate in the future you won't make any profit or loss? So that means that what will be the rate where I will have a balance? So to calculate that balance, it's actually quite easy. It's not very difficult. You need to divide the two future values, and which one on top and which one at the bottom, it all depends on this, on the rate. So in here the rate is Mexico on top, dollars at the bottom, so you need to do the same division, Mexico on top and dollars at the bottom. I will just add a minus, so I don't get a negative number in here. So this is the balance rate. Actually, I can put it in here. This is the balance rate, 20 pesos and 14 cents. So you can check if this is correct. You can convert your dollars to pesos using that rate, and you will see that is exactly the same amount of money that you will have to pay in Mexico, right? So you're proving that this is a balance rate. And I can also ask you, this is also something that I can ask you, is to simulate or or if you can tell me if there is profit or loss, the spot at day 90 is, I would say, 20.50. What I am asking you in here is, can you simulate what will happen if the spot rate is 2050? Because we don't know, right? We don't have a forward. We don't have a forward in here. So because we don't have a forward, I can ask you directly, can you simulate what can happen? So what would you do? You can just use this one, the one that I am giving you, as if this is your forward, right? Mathematically or methodologically, use it as if it is the forward. It's not the forward, but use it as if it is the forward. And what will you do? You are going to multiply this times this, and you will get this amount of pesos. And finally, you only need to subtract, right? The difference between the strategy and staying and the, sorry, and the, but because I have a negative number, I need to add, okay. And this is pesos. This difference is the difference between doing the strategy and coming back, assuming a spot rate of 2050, and then that difference with what the amount of money that you have to pay in Mexico. Okay, so that's the end of this uncover interest arbitrage. It's quite simple. We're going to continue in this topic on fair partial. There's still a couple more complications on this, but I think if we keep doing this, like go step by step and not all of a sudden all the complicated things, if we go step by step, you will be able to build a complicated strategy later on. So this is the end of this class. It's actually pretty short. It's just this variation of the CIA. And in the activity, you will have to do something similar to this. We have the exam in the next week. So I will be sending you an email with some instructions, and I will also be sending you the case study, because that's actually the exam. The partial exam is going to be a case study. It's not a traditional exam like exam canvas or anything like that. It's not like that. It's a case study where you have to do some calculations and do some research on a topic from the course, from the partial, and I will be asking you to develop your answers in a kind of coherent and a larger way compared to a traditional exam. But you will also have more time to do it. I will probably give you 2 days in advance the case study, and then on the day where we have the class, I will be on Zoom answering to your questions, and then you will even have one more day to submit your answers. I will explain all of this in an email, but let me know if you have any questions. But the important thing about today's class is that you understand this topic. So remember, the things that are different from last week is that now we have an uncover interest arbitrage because we don't have a forward. So we need to calculate probably these two things. And this is not a forward, it's just an assumption. So there is risk that this won't happen. And the other thing that is different is that now you are borrowing money. It's not your own money like previously. Previously you had your own money, but here is different. You are borrowing money. So you need to be more careful because you can lose. So that's the end of this class. Let me know if you have any questions.